Hello everyone, welcome to AI Anytime channel. In today's video, we are going to work on a very interesting project. We are going to build an application called Chat with Audio. Okay. You have previously seen that there have been multiple projects and also YouTube videos where the content creators and the researchers or the developers are showing how to build an application where you can chat with PDFs, using tools like Langchain, for example, with large language models. Now that can be closed source like OpenAI, or that can be open source like Vicuna, GPT for all, Llama, etc. In this video, I'm going to cover that how we can create a Streamlit application where we will give a video file that can be through YouTube, and we'll use this speech to text techniques with large language models. So we are going to use assembly AI. Okay, I'll cover that in bit, but you can also use Whisper, for example, to perform speech to text. So we'll use speech to text techniques, we'll use embeddings, of course, with help of Langchain there, and then we'll use OpenAI DaVinci 3 as a language model to kind of infer the chat with audio. This is what we are going to build in this application. So if I just can draw it on a very high level, that how the flow will be. So we'll have a video file. So this is our video file, and this video file is nothing but will come from the URL. Okay, so we'll have an input area, text input area on Streamlit app, and then we'll have this something called PyTube, for example. So we'll use PyTube library. We'll use this library called PyTube, where we'll get the MP3 of it. So we'll get the MP3 audio file. So this is going to be the audio file, and once we have this, we'll do a post request. We'll do the post request to assembly AI transcription model. So if you're not aware about assembly AI, so assembly AI is basically a company. Okay, they provide multiple AI and machine learning services, and speech to text, which is a transcription service. They also provide that. They have recently launched something called Lemur. I will cover that Lemur in a separate video that I'm working on it currently. They also have come up with large language models there to kind of give you options like summarization and question and answering capabilities on your audio file. So it basically, and they have software as a service services there for your audio calls or the audio files. Okay, so you can leverage their services like transcription, summarization, question answering, content moderation, etc. Okay, so it's basically a platform that you can leverage, and they give you free trials as well. They give you I think 3 hours of audio transcription in a month. You can leverage that in completely free, but you have to make sure that you are not using any confidential data. Okay, if you are sending those confidential data to them, I don't know what kind of licenses or policies that they have at their place, but the reason I am drawing this high level workflow is because in the next video, in the upcoming video, we are going to convert this entire to an open source backed application that we'll build. So currently we are using assembly AI speech to text service, but in the coming videos we will replace this to OpenAI Whisper, which is an open source model, and then we'll use sentence transformer instead of OpenAI embeddings. I will cover that when I'm drawing it. Now once we have the MP3 file from the URL, the video from PyTube, we are giving it to assembly AI and saying, okay, give me the transcription now. So we're making a post request. Okay, so we are leveraging their API here. So we're making an API call, and in assembly AI, once we pass it to it, it will give us the transcription file. It gives us the transcription file. Let me just write it over here, transcription. So it gives the transcription file now. It gives the transcription, and basically let me call it file. We can just save it using Python as well in a TXT format. Now once we have the transcription, the next thing is that we'll create embeddings here, guys. So let me just write it, embeddings. And that's where we are using Langchain again. We're using Langchain, and then we are passing it to Langchain will do the heavy lifting, by the way. Okay, so now when we are passing it to we need a vector store here, so we store that embeddings. Okay, so let me write vector store, and we are using something called Chromadb, the local Chromadb that we are going to leverage. Okay, Chromadb is a vector store. If you are not aware, like you might have aware about Face or Elasticsearch, for example. Chromadb is available natively. You can set it up in your local machine as well. Runs good on CPU as well, for a small set of data there. Now once we have Chromadb, we'll just have an LLM again, which is going to be OpenAI in this case again, of course with the embeddings also. And now here with the LLM, we're using DaVinci 3, and again this will come from Langchain itself. So Langchain will do all the heavy lifting for us, and then we have your QA and you have your answer here, question answering app. Let me just write it, question answering service, or let me just call it app here. So this is a high level workflow that we are going to execute in this project or in this application. Okay, so we'll start from the URL. We'll use PyTube library to extract the audio file. This is necessary, guys, because some of you might ask this question that Assembly AI also directly kind of give you transcription from its YouTube video link. Of course it gives it, okay, but the main agenda of this video is that it's the first part of this series. Okay, it is going to be 2 videos in this series, where first we will use the closed source model with the help of APIs. In the next video we'll remove Assembly AI with Whisper, and we'll also replace OpenAI embeddings with sentence transformers. So we'll have a complete open source back chat with audio application. So this is a high level flow, and we need PyTube in that case when we're using Whisper to get the video from YouTube, convert it to audio, and then get the MP3 file and then send it to Whisper to get the transcription. So this is a very high level overview. Let's jump in, let's write code. Let's write our code here, guys, in Streamlit. Okay. I'm trying to reduce the number of review videos because there have been multiple models are being released on day-to-day basis. I believe more in the creating projects, creating application that will help you do something with this fast moving generative AI based models, etc. So this is the flow. Let it running. Now what I will do, I'll go inside this folder called chat audio. You can see that I am already in this folder. Now I'm just going to open in terminal. Let me just open this in terminal, and I already have a virtual environment. You can see I already have a .chroma. You can just ignore that for now. So I have created a virtual environment and I have installed all my dependencies or libraries in that environment. If you are using Anaconda, feel free to go and create a new environment or use the same base environment if you want to do that. So in that, you can see I'm just going to activate my virtual environment. How do we do that? So I'm in PowerShell Windows. I just do /activate to activate it. If you are on Linux, you have to go inside bin and activate. And let me just do cd ... and make a clear here. Now I'll just open VS Code and I will start writing my code here. So let me just do that. Let me just minimize this tabs. Okay. Now this is the thing, right, we have to do, and we are going to build a Streamlit application. I will not write the entire code because most of the functions are already been written in my previous videos. So for example, PyTube, I have multiple videos where I have used PyTube to get audio. So I will use those functions. I will also give this gist in the description. You can see I have created a multiple gist separately. I will give all this gist in the description of this video. You can utilize that per your convenience. So now let's come back in the VS Code. Let's start writing the code. Before that, these are the requirement. We need Streamlit because we are going to create a Streamlit web application. We need request because we are going to work with the API calls. We are going to make post request there to Assembly AI. We need request to also work with the data there, the JSON responses. We need .env to handle our API keys. Both the keys we are relying on Assembly AI and OpenAI in this video. So we need these keys. Okay, I'll show you how you can get that key. And then we need something called Langchain. We do not need GPT index. Can we just remove it from here? Okay, let's rely completely on Langchain here. So we need Langchain. We can have PyPDF2 and we need Chromadb. Okay, if you are facing any issue installing Chromadb, make sure you have Visual C++. You need Visual C, C++ to install Chromadb. It requires a dependency called hnswlib, which is a must dependency or requirement to install Chromadb, and that only runs on C backend. Anyway, let's jump in. Let's create a file called app.py, and here we'll start writing our code, guys. So let's first write it. So import Streamlit. Let's come up with a simple boilerplate here. So import Streamlit as st and just give it a title for now. Okay, st.title chat with audio using LLM or something. Okay, chat with audio, st.title looks good. Okay, and let's run our code here. So let me just write it streamlit run app.py. It will open a new tab in the browser and you'll be able to see your application up and running. So it says chat with audio using large language models. How should I put it, the most trending topics currently in the world, I will say, rather in the IT world. Okay, now let me just go back. You can see it's running on VS Code. Let's do a couple of things. As usual, I do not like this container or container fluid which is in the center. I want to utilize the full width of this layout. So let's do that. How should we do that? The first line of your Streamlit app should start like this. If you are going to use page config, layout, and in layout I'm just going to put wide. I need to utilize the wide. Also you can do page title, for example, and let's give it chat audio. So you will have a page title in the tab there. Okay, chat audio. You can also give an icon. So let me just do that. Page icon here. Okay, page icon. Okay, I forgot to give ending with there. Now in page icon, what do we have to give? We can give an emoji, guys. Let's come back over here. Let's go to emoji GitHub and I will search emoji GitHub here, and let me just do that. And you can also use emojis because it's again markdown backed Streamlit. You can use, let me do a control F. Let's search for sound because we are going to work with audio files. Let me take that emoji here. Okay, come back in page icon, control S. What next? Let's have a file or text input, guys, because we are going to work with a text input. So let me call this input source, for example. So let me just write input source, a variable which will hold our query from the end user. st.text input. Sorry, I've said query. It's not query. It's the input source, the video URL. Okay, so st.text input, and here I'll say, okay, enter your, for example, video, or let me just write YouTube video URL. This looks good. Okay, input source, st.text input, and let's just do one thing. If input source is not none, something like this. Okay, st. Maybe we can show this video, why not? So st.video, and let's show this. So let me pass input source, not width. Let's width, we can handle it later. This looks nice. Let me come back on this app here. Let me do a rerun. It says error opening. Okay, because it's asking for a link, and I'm going to use this link, guys. Donald Trump shuts down CNN reporter. That you can take any other video, but I'm taking a short video of 2-minute length because for this tutorial videos, but you are doing it, you can take even 10 minutes of video. As I said, that Assembly AI provides 3 hours of audio in a month completely free, and in the next video it's going to replace this with Whisper, so it doesn't matter in that case. So anyway, let me just copy this and come back here, and okay, I have to go here on the app, enter. Now you can see we have a video over here and Trump showing some finger to some CNN reporters, by the way. Okay, and let me now just extend it further. So what we have done so far, guys, we have an input box. Okay, YouTube video URL at input area where you can input your YouTube, this one, YouTube video. Now let's import some other libraries, dependencies, whatever. Okay, so let me just import for the utils here. So import JSON, import operating system, import system, import time, for example, required by Assembly AI, import JSON OS system time from .env, import load.env, and import requests. And what else we need? So from .env, import load.env. So we are loading that .env to manage the API key. From request, now we have to use PyTube. So from PyTube, import YouTube. This looks nice. So from PyTube, import YouTube. From pathlib, let's have this as well to handle the file extension, etc. And the Langchain now. So from Langchain document loaders, import text loaders. Let's have a text. I will explain that why I am loading this. So what we will do in this, guys, if I go back to this here on the screencast, if you see, we are getting this transcription file. What we will do, assembly AI will give us the transcription, which are basically text. We'll save that in a txt file, and we'll save that in this folder called docs folder, and we'll load that txt file using Langchain directory loader or document loaders, and then we'll create the embeddings out of it. That's what we are doing. If you want to save it in a PDF file, please go ahead and do that. Okay, this is the basic Python operations, but in this case, to keep it simple, I am going to store that transcription in a txt file in this docs folder, and later on I will use Langchain to perform the processing on that folder, on that document from the folder. So from Langchain document loaders, import text loader. Now the next, from Langchain indexes, let's have vector store. So import vector store index creator. This looks nice by default, Chromadb locally. And if you are not aware about Chromadb, let me just show you what is Chromadb here. So click on Chroma. It says the AI native open source embedding database. It's a vector database. Why do we need a vector database? It's very, very important nowadays. And maybe you can find multiple videos. People have shared that why you need a vector database. You can see Chroma document and the respective embeddings, and then you are querying and then passing it to LLM for inference, and you are getting an answer. Very high level diagram here, very good diagram by the way. So we are going to use Chroma to have the embedding store in that vector index, vector store. And if you are not aware about assembly AI, this is the assembly AI. You have to come here, and to get an API key that you can get it from developers. You can see, click on developers, you have your API key, you can get it from there. It provides completely free up to 3 hours of audio transcription. That's what we are going to do, guys, here. So now the next, so if input source is, this looks nice. So we are done with our imports. Let me just handle the API key, etc. here. So I already, you can see I have a .env file where I have both the APIs, so assembly AI APIs and OpenAI key. Now I'm just handling it, API keys. So the first thing that we have to do, load.env, the constructor has been initiated with load.env. And the next now is, let's have a variable called API token, and in this API token, os.getEnv, and just pass the same name that you have defined in that, basically that env file. So assembly AI and key, and the same goes for, so how do we get it, the OpenAI key for Langchain? It goes like this. So OpenAI API key, and then os.getEnv, the same thing, os.getEnv, and then just pass OpenAI API key. That's it. So we have now imported and kind of loaded our API keys from .env file. Now what we have to do next, we need couple of functions here, guys. First of all, to work with, the first function that we need is to get the audio file from YouTube videos using PyTube. So what I will do, I will not write that code because I have already used on multiple occasions in my previous videos. I'm just going to copy this function here. You can see PyTube audio py. I'm just going to use that, but I will explain that what we are doing here. So now, if you see the function, it says save audio taking a URL as an input. So the same URL that will pass it through that Streamlit. If you come over here on the Streamlit app, you see the same URL. This URL will be passed to this py audio function, save audio, and then it has a constructor called YouTube, initiating that YouTube class from PyTube. And this is the most trickiest thing here. So we are doing, okay, YT streams filter only audio equals to true. We only need the audio file. That's what we are saying to PyTube. And then we are handling the file extension that mp3, saving it in the directory, and then we're returning the file name, just the file name here. That's what we are doing with this function here, guys. Now we need the function for speech to text. Okay, speech to text, and you can also get that in documentation here. If you go to the documentation, let me come back on assembly AI documentation. You can see transcribing an audio file. You get this complete the same code that I am going to use with some tweaks. I have a couple of tweaks here, but the almost same code we are going to use. You can take the code directly from here as well, but I already have it here. So let me just use this. This is the function that we are going to use for speech to text. And what we are doing in this function, guys, we are saving our transcription.txt as discussed in this screencast, when I was drawing that, you can see this transcription.txt. Now we are going to store this transcription in this docs folder. That's what we are doing here, and then we are returning the transcription result text because we can show it on the UI there, on the Streamlit UI. Now you see what we are doing in this case. We are using the endpoint, okay, the base endpoint that I have to define above, okay, and we are doing a post request to get this transcription, okay, and it has some, if else, where you get some error, it will tell you that, okay, why you are getting this error, okay, and also when it completed. So this is what you can, very much self-explanatory if you are versed with Python. Now what I have to do, I have to define this base here. So let me just copy it from here. You can see this is the headers and base URL for Assembly AI. We have to put it over here. You can see this is the V2. We are using version 2 of Assembly AI speech to text transcription. We are just using authorization, passing this API token as variable, and then content type application JSON. Pretty much standard API data structure that we do. And if you come down, okay, so we have our Assembly AI, we have our save audio, we have our, so we have written both the functions, save audio and Assembly AI. Now what we are going to do next, guys, we are going to kind of work with the Langchain part. Okay, so it's very simple, the Langchain part that we are going to do. So let me just come back over here and write the function for the Langchain. So I'm just going to say, okay, define Langchain QA, question answering. Okay, so it's a question answering. So with question answer, you ask a question, you get an answer from your audio file. Okay, basically it's from the transcription that you are getting. So Langchain QA, and here we'll have our query, and in this query, what we're going to do now, let's have a something called loader that will load the document, because now we have our files in this docs. So this loader, now this will write text loader, and here we have to pass our file path. So this is nothing but the docs transcription txt. This looks good, transcription txt. Now we have our loader. What it's doing, it's loading the document from transcription txt. We are using currently text loader. Now you can use it for PDF. Langchain has classes for PDF, it has classes for docs, it has for unstructured as well. If you have unstructured data, it also has those modules that you can leverage. Please go through Langchain documentation if you are dealing with multiple data formats there. Okay, so now loader. Then our next thing is we need an index creation. So index, I'm just going to use vector store index creator, and it's a function. So vector store index creator, and here we'll use from loaders, and then we'll just pass. This is going to be inside a list, pass inside a list, and this is going to be a loader. This looks nice. So now index. Now let's have a query. So basically query equals to query. This is going to be our query. The query will come from the end user. Okay, so now query equals to query, and the next thing is result. So result, we need to do index.query. So we'll query on top of that index, the index that we are storing it locally in Chromadb. So index.query, it will not be loader, it will be query here, because this is our input from the end user. Result index query, and then we have return result. So return result, and this looks nice. So this is what, let me just comment it out. So this is what Langchain code, and this is Assembly AI speech to text. This is Py2 function, and here we have managed our API key. Let me just define endpoints. So just endpoints. This looks nice. Now our Langchain code is also done. Now what we have to do, let's write the Streamlit part now. So we have input source, ht.text input, enter your YouTube video URL. If input source is not none, ht.video input source. Now here what we can do, guys, we can have some columns here. Let me just remove. So we do not want to utilize the full layout. We can divide that in couple of columns. So in one side, in column 1, we'll show the video and the transcription maybe, and in the right hand side we'll have an option text area where user can ask a question and get the answer for that. Okay, and we'll have something small answer or something. Okay, so if input source is not none, let's have two columns, column 1, column 2, and ht.columns. Pretty much that I always do. 2 columns, you can pass it like that. You also use list to have distribution defined 1:1 or 1:2, however you want it. Now with column 1, in column 1, what we're doing, st.info, let's have a status message. In st.info, we are going to write your uploaded video or something. Okay, your uploaded video, st.info, your uploaded video, and then st.video. Let's show that video. So just let's input source. I'm not going to use width here. It will automatically take the width of the container of that column. st video input source, and then we have audio file name. We need the audio to pass it to transcription function. So audio file name, save audio, and I'm passing input source, which is going to hold our URL. Okay, we are passing that inside the save audio function that we have written above using PyTube. We are passing that here now. So save audio, it will have the audio file name, and then we'll pass it to the transcription function. So transcription variable, and pass it to assembly AI audio file name. This looks nice. So what we are doing here, guys, if you see, the first of all, we are taking the URL from the end user. We are passing it to the first function, save audio, which will take the audio file name from there, and then we are passing that audio to assembly AI speech to text function. And then here let's have st dot, for example, info, to show the transcription if you want. Okay, so I'm just showing it. Okay, something like this. Okay, and now we have with column 2. So with column 2, the first column is done. So with column 2, let's have st dot info, something like chat below or something. So chat below, and in st dot info now have a query. So query equals nothing but st dot text area, and let's have a text area. In text area, ask your query here. Ask your query here, dot dot dot, something like this. And then we have if. Let's check it. So if query is not none, if there's a value, if there's a query inside that text area, then only proceed further and execute the rest of the code. So if query is not none, let's have a button there. So if st dot button ask, and inside this st.info again, and for example your query is something like this. Okay, your query is something plus query, yeah, this is your query, and we also present result. So in result we are going to use the Langchain function now. Okay, so Langchain QA, and just pass the query. And I use tab 9, guys, for auto code completion. You can also use that tab 9 VS Code extension. st.success, and in success I'm just going to pass the result. Okay, this will contain our result. So now let's just go from top to bottom what we are doing. So we have imported all our required libraries. We have load.env and API key management over here with that. Then we have defined the assembly AI speech to text endpoint. We are having headers, passing the API token into that. Then we have PyTube function, save audio, which only gives you the audio, store it in your local directory, and then we are passing that to assembly AI. So we've written assembly AI speech to text function, which kind of takes that file name and gives you the description, transcription. We are saving that transcription in this docs file, and then we are writing a Langchain question answering function where we have a text loader module that kind of loads the transcription txt from the docs, and then we are creating the vectors out of it, okay, and we are storing that vector in Chromadb, Chroma database, which is a vector store. Okay, and then we have a query, and then we are querying that on the index that we have, and we are just returning the result over there. Then comes the Streamlit part. We have a title, we have an input YouTube video URL, and then we are dividing in the layout in couple of columns. And in the first column we are showing the video, and we are also showing the transcription that we will get it from assembly AI. And in column 2 we have our text area where you can ask your query, and you also have an ask button where you click on that, it gives you the answer for your query. So now let's run this app and see if we are able to get the desired response, guys. Okay, so let me just go back here and I'll just do a rerun, guys. It says cannot import name path from pathlib. Okay, from pathlib import path. So let's see that, guys. Okay, why are we getting this error? Now I've Do you know why I'm getting this error? Because this should be capital here. Okay, so from path leave input path, let me just go back again, rerun. And when I clicking on rerun, what it does, it gives you error opening, because maybe we can handle that with session state. Okay, you can also do that. So Streamlit does not directly support a nested button function there, but you can use Streamlit state to handle this. So now when I click on enter, now you can see we have our videos over here. Okay, and now what's happening, let me go back to my terminal again so you'll understand better. So if I click on terminal, you can see it says processing. It's processing the assembly AI speech to text code, guys. So basically what it's doing, it's generating the transcription for you. Okay, now you can see we got our transcription over here. Think it was disgraceful. Let's hear what Trump is saying, okay, in this video.
I think it was disgraceful that the intelligence agencies allowed any information that turned out to be so false and fake out. I think it's a disgrace. And I say that, and that's something that Nazi Germany would have done.
So you can see, right, it's almost 2 minutes of video. Okay, he's talking about something, fighting with some CNN reporter over there. Okay, so we have got our transcription also, guys. We are using assembly AI. Same you can do with Whisper also, okay, with Whisper model. Go on GitHub repository, install Whisper, OpenAI Whisper, use couple of lines of code, generate the transcription, take a smaller model, tiny or base or something, and you can replace, and we'll do that in the next video, guys, in the next part of this series, okay. And now, you have an option called ask your query, okay, you can ask your question. Let me ask, what should I ask? Okay, so maybe I can ask, okay, who is Michael Cohn or something. Okay, this is my question. Okay, from that I might be thinking that you can see Michael Cohn here, right? I'm getting some name over there. Now you have a chat below, ask your query, click on ask. Once you click on ask, it should return you the response. Let's see that. Now you can ignore that currently, so it will take little time. So let's see. Now you can see it's using embedded DuckDB, for Chromadb, and data will be transient. And you can now see Langchain contains fewer than 4 elements, and you are getting some logs there. Now if you see, you can ignore those warnings, but if you see, Michael Cohn is a lawyer in the Trump organization. This was my query. Who is Michael Cohn? So Michael Cohn is a lawyer in the Trump organization. This is what is happening, guys. Okay, I asked a question, Michael Cohn. Let's ask some other question also. Which media house Trump is talking about? Okay, something like this. So currently I am on a CPU. Okay, so when you use Chromadb, etc. Okay, it's recommended that you use on a maybe a GPU machine, because it's kind of storing your embeddings. You are having a vector store locally running on a CPU machine. Even you can use that fast CPU as well. Okay, you can compare it, how much time fast CPU is taking in comparison with Chromadb. Now my question is, which media house Trump is talking about? Trump is talking about BuzzFeed and CNN. This is correct, by the way. So you can see now we're getting such a good response, okay, for the query that we are asking. So the first query that we asked, who is Michael Cohn or something. Now we're asking which media house Trump is talking about. So he said Trump is talking about BuzzFeed and CNN. Okay, let's see what else we can ask, okay, in this question. Can you tell me what's going on? Maybe what's going on? What is the topic of discussion? Can you tell me what is the topic of discussion in the video? Something like this. Okay, now this is my query now. Okay, so this is the query that I am making on this video. Basically, it takes the audio using PyTube, and we have the transcription using assembly AI speech to text, and we are using Langchain there to kind of have a question answering kind of a service. Okay, using embedding, etc. Now this is my question. Can you tell me what is the topic of discussion in the video? And let's see. You can also convert this to an interactive chatbot, guys, because Langchain provide this memory, conversation buffer flow, etc., where you can ask the follow-up question as well. It will be able to respond. Now if you see, my query was, can you tell me what is the topic of discussion in the video? It says the topic of discussion in the video is the false reports about Michael Cohn of the Trump organization being in Prague. fantastic, isn't it? So you see a 2 minutes of video and the audio, whatever you say it, and the transcription, it's able to, infer it. Okay, so it's able to inference it with the, how should I put it, a very good accuracy. Now if you have a webinar, you have a team meeting, recordings, any other sessions, you can use the same tool, ask your query and get the information. You can also use something called Streamlit Chat. Let me just show you what I'm talking about. So Streamlit Chat, you use Streamlit Chat here, guys. Okay, so Streamlit Chat is a chatbot UI. You will get this kind of UI. So if you are extending this further, let me know. I can also collaborate. If you want any help from my side, I can help you. I can also, if you have any doubts, or if you are facing any challenges or issue with this project or this tool, let me know and I'll help you debug those as well. So if I come back over here, guys, okay, it says fail to connect. Let me just go back, maybe anyway. So in the next video, what we will do, we will replace assembly AI, as I said, with Whisper, and we'll replace OpenAI embeddings with basically sentence transformers. We'll use mini language model L6 or something, okay, the version 6 of that, whatever. So in same application, you will see, okay, we'll convert it to completely open source, but maybe you will not get this kind of accuracy, okay, but we'll at least try it out. So this is what I wanted to do in this video, guys. So wanted to create an application in Streamlit that called chat with audio using LLM, okay, where you can upload, or you can also have an uploader also, and you can also ask, maybe you can also put again a text to speech there also. You can also bring those functionality, but I wanted to have YouTube video URL where you give the URL, get the transcription, perform some question answering using Langchain and Chromadb as a vector store. There you can see we are getting very good responses, and of course it makes sense, we are using GPT-3 here, and that's what you will get. But anyway, the code will be available on my GitHub repository, okay, with the same name, chat with audio using LLM. I'll give that code repository in the description of this video. Okay, so that's all, guys. If you like the video, please give a thumbs up. Okay, if you haven't subscribed the channel yet, do subscribe. Please share the video with your friends and to peer. Thank you so much for watching. See you in the next one.